Yeah, 40th episode.
40th.
No, it was the 40th edition of the Dakar last year.
Well, 40th episode of Waved Yellow. Welcome, greetings and salutations, race fans. We are probably in the calmest place in terms of motorsport at the moment. Inside the most hectic building, we're sitting with Glynn Hall from Hall Speed Toyota Gazoo Racing South Africa. Glynn, thanks a lot for your time. The building has stopped shaking now that you've come off the dyno. Did you find what you were looking for?
No, it's never enough, but we're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there.
You've had a really eventful year in terms of bridesmaid in Dakar, not what you wanted, but there's been lots of development, and we're hearing good things, particularly what that came out of Morocco.
Yeah, I think things have progressed, and last Dakar, certainly when we reviewed all of the data that we had in detail, we were certainly fast enough to win. The problem last year was specifically the new tyre and the wheel rim that we had, but it was more the tyre that wasn't really tested 100% correctly, and we suffered there. Certainly, if we'd had the tyre that we had now, we would have been in a better position. Whether it would have been good enough to win, we'll tell you at the end of January.
But that's why you go motor racing. If it was a foregone conclusion, then it wouldn't be fun at all. You went to Dakar, and there was a lot of new developments that you tested, and the learnings that you went to Morocco, and the learnings that come out of Morocco, how do they relate to Peru specifically for this year, next year?
Well, let's turn the clock back 9 months, and remember from last year we brought the new car forward here, so we went there a little bit on our back foot, but we knew the car was very fast and we knew there was lots of potential. At the end of Dakar, we had a really unexpected engine failure on Bernard's car while he was in for a podium position on the second to last stage.
And that's the first engine failure in living memory of this.
And in the end, of course, it wasn't the engine's fault, but it's taken us 5 months of pain to really establish exactly what happened. And you know, to cut a long story short, we were using the car was running too cold in Bolivia at you know, when it was 10-12 degrees, and the oil was too viscous, and the bearing clearances on the new modern engines, especially this, you know, Lexus RCF engine that we're using now, is got bearing clearances like our old touring car engines, you know, really tight, so you need thin oil. And with the cold weather and an oil that we were using which was already on the thicker side, you know, to protect us for the harsh environments, meant that the bearings didn't get the oil that they needed, and it's called the hydrodynamic effect of the oil, where you have 4 bars in the gallery, but there's 200 bars in the bearing shell and the crank, and eventually we found it. So those problems are behind us.
How do you fix that problem? I mean, I've got an idea of maybe it's just a thermostat that you put in an engine?
Well, we eventually, for sure, yeah, we did put a thermostat, and it's the last thing that one would normally want in a racing engine. And we decided to choose a Toyota thermostat, which took quite a lot of research. We wanted an original OE thermostat, not an aftermarket one. And we found one of the Toyotas that got a 76 degree thermostat, which was ideal. We put it in the right place, which wasn't easy. Took a lot of testing. We had to then divide the radiator flows up. We have 2 radiators in the car. So as you can see, this wasn't a 5-minute job. This has really been the whole year. And then we had another engine failure, which was totally unrelated, and really something that we won't discuss. But that frightened us for a while, but it had nothing to do with the engine.
That part, before we went live, I said to Glynn, what areas can we not go and not talk about it? So the things we can't discuss. Okay, so you've got...
So let's go back to Morocco. The question. Yes, so we've been developing during the year. We had a very good suspension development test in Qatar earlier this year with Janil and Nasser.
Still with the Riga shocks?
Yes, yeah, but different valving inside. And then we had made some small progressions during the year. We added some different suspension components, shall we say. And,
that shall remain unnamed.
Yes, and we tested them here locally. And then we arrived in Morocco and we decided to build Nasser a brand new car for Morocco. And we got there, he did a test and was gone for 50 Ks, which is a bit frightening the very first time the car runs. And
this is out of the box?
Out of the box, yeah.
Drives 50 Ks away?
Ks away, came back and said there's nothing to do. The car was perfect. And of course, drivers are never happy. So, you know, by 4 days later, he wanted to start playing a little bit. But certainly, he won the Morocco Rally with a car as it came out of the box. Not even a click different on the dampers.
So that speaks volumes to the development and design facility that you've got here in, we can't call it the shed anymore. This is a world-class facility.
Sure. And of course, Henk Laatkan joined the team, and we used him for some testing. And between Henk and Janelle, we've been developing the car during the year. So I think it's a tribute to those guys that when we got to Morocco, everything was really pretty good. Yeah.
So from Morocco, Nasser's car, I'm led to believe that's in Europe, waiting to get modified. But there's a hive of activity in the shop that there's some places where the camera can't go, but we can see there's a hive of activity here. And from now to beginning of January and the start of Dakar 19, what's the program from now? You've got new cars to finish?
No, the only new car we're building this year is Nasser's car, but I must actually just go back one step. Along with the engine failure, we had a crack in the chassis, and we changed the chassis at the back, so that was an evolution. So we've got one car back from Morocco now, which is the last one to have the full upgrades. That's change in chassis, some strengthening, some design change, a different radiator layout. We're using Toyota's production Hilux radiator technology. Can you believe it? And better than any racing radiator that we've ever seen. Yeah.
And that's not the only, so we've got a thermostat, we've got radiator technology, but you also use all the electrical connectors and plugs. Those are Toyota production parts.
On the certainly on the engine, every single connector on the engine that we use has got a gold-plated terminal that comes from the production car. So we hunted a couple of years ago through all of the production. We managed to find enough variations of terminals to do the whole engine with the standard stuff.
So is this a case of production improving the racing cars?
It is,
it's a two-way street.
It's not often to find gold-plated terminals on production cars, but yeah.
So now you've got the Evo cars, and this is the lower, lighter, more compact,
many things different.
Mid-engined.
Yeah, many things different.
Many things different. When will we be able to have a good look at the car from a technical point of view? After Dakar?
Maybe. Let's see how we go. Yeah. Of course, during all of this, we've had some more FIA meetings. We've had a performance review by the FIA. And the sad part is we'll be running with 5 than last year.
But and there's also, isn't there a bit of a swing now with Frenchmen in a privateer Peugeot?
Yeah, I mean, Sébastien Loeb proved himself to be again one of the greatest of all time by coming back and winning WRC Spain a couple of weeks ago. So he'll be driving a so-called privateer Peugeot on the works, you know, on the story. But because of the average altitude of the race being lower, now we have to run a smaller restrictor with the petrol. The diesels never change, so you can imagine our frustration. I can give it you in my if you'd like.
No, I was listening. We've been waiting for Glynn for a while, and the building has been shaking with all the work on the engine dyno. But that's the kind of thing that you've got to do. What is your biggest challenge that you're working to overcome for Dakar next year?
There's so many. I mean, our challenge, our target is to have 0 problems with the car, so that the drivers can do their job. That's our target. So we're working here to give maximum performance with zero problems. And the conditions in Peru this year, it'll be 70% sand or dune stages and 30% of gravel with some mixed sand. So we went well there last year. We did have slightly more power. We have clawed a little bit of that back with some engine development, but not a lot. There are limits to physics.
So the limit of the power is the restrictor and the amount of air that it can breathe?
Finished, yeah. That our restrictor for this year is 37 millimeters. So as soon as the air flowing through that orifice, which is 37 mils, gets to the speed of sound, it stops. And that's the maximum amount of air that you can have. Of course, we're always arguing with the FIA that the same air should be given to all engines that compete in the same formula, but the diesels get a benefit this year of 1 millimeter if you've got 2 turbos and 2 millimeters if you've got a single turbo. So it's a bit frustrating, but
that's what makes the challenge even.
It shouldn't be. We should be on an even
we know
field.
that, Glynn, but it's, you know, it's ifs, ands, onlys, and shouldn'ts.
We had a very good car last year. We had really fast drivers. Bernard Tambrinka was the revelation of the Dakar, which shows us that the basic package of car that we had was very good.
Because you also need a car in these long days that doesn't sit on a knife edge, that gives drivers confidence to keep going.
Yeah, it's
very
easy to say, not so easy to deliver. Yeah.
Glynn, I know you are seriously busy, and we had I'm looking at the time, and we'd like to have a quick walk around the shop under strict control. Would you like to? Are you going to chaperone us, or can we go and have a look?
No, we'll chaperone you.
I knew he was going to say that. Right. So there's some areas, and Gary will.
Well, we can just do it from up here, can't we? Or not? Eh?
Should we?
Yeah.
You want to do it from?
Yeah. I mean, look. You can
are we allowed to look at that side?
Yeah, we can look over there. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So we've just had a change of plot and a plan. Over there. That the white car with the Toyota on the grille.
That is Janelle's car, and we shouldn't be seeing the Toyota on the grille.
Okay, and then Gary. We shouldn't be seeing some stuff there. Let's have a look at this is how the cars grow. You've got a skeleton.
Yeah, but that's enough.
Okay, and then we go, Gary.
Yeah, these are
keep going.
Customer car ready to be shipped away.
And Gary, can you get the boxes in? The boxes in the.
Yeah. We have JP there, who's our storeman during Dakar, and there'll be about 70 or 80 of those red boxes, which are filled with the parts. We'll put 2 or 3 spare cars.
And these boxes go into the truck.
Yes.
And you've got new trucks with overdrive for next year?
Yes, we have 2 nice new trucks for us, and they look very smart, really good, ready to go. And of course, the ship sails in 2 weeks' time, so there's a bit of pressure on. Yeah.
But you've got some of your parts and all the big stuff has already gone in the by sea.
We sent a sea freight container with some of the heavy stuff.
And then all of this stuff flies?
Yes, so SAA help us fly the cars and all the parts, you know, so we go via Sao Paulo, then direct to Lima. Yeah, that's good. So, yeah, every one of those parts, those boxes, together with the wooden boxes, eventually will end up at around 11,000 kilograms.
And so those are going to fly on a flight pallet, and one of those innovations that you kind of pioneered was designing the car so that it could fit properly on a flight pallet.
Due to our geographical location, if we want to fly east-west, we have to do it on a passenger plane, so that we designed the car to go on the flat pallet where one's luggage would go below deck. So the maximum height of the car has got to be 1.58 meters. 15 millimeters to keep the pilots happy, and the length is only 3.8 meters, so we knock the car down, put it flat on the pallet, put the bodywork inside. Certain areas, suspension parts are bolted to the back. We load them and they slide into that hold with 20 mils to spare, front, back, and
a bit of cling wrap around them to keep
just to hold it together. Yeah.
Awesome, Glynn. I can see it's a sensitive time here. Gary and I'd like to go back into the where you can't see stuff, and just there's some other motor racing we want to catch up.
It's a pleasure.
It's been. Thank you for sparing us the time at this close to Dakar. I know this is tense times.
A little bit of pressure, but yeah, we're getting there.
And all the best, and we're going to follow it. And we'd like to see that no problems.
Too.
Awesome, Glynn. Thanks a lot.
Cheers,
Can
Colin.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Can we de-sound you?
Yeah, sure you can.
Gary, should we go back into the workshop? I see when your camera's roaming, Gary, Glynn was getting a bit twitchy in certain areas. Now, the nice thing about seeing when somebody gets twitchy, Gary's going to carry on talking with us. Thanks a lot, Glynn. I really, really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Cheers.
Awesome. When Glynn was getting twitchy, those are the areas, and I think the sound system's gone off there, Gary. The twitchiness, the closer you got to some development bits, the twitchier he was getting. But I mean, it's quite a privilege to be able to go shop, and when the camera wasn't on, I had the chance of walking around, and I've got to just say I'm completely blown away at the development of this new car, this Evo car. There's a whole lot of things that packaging. When we were in. What does WCT stand for again? World-class racing team. The mid-engine, low polar moment of inertia kind of developments. This is just taken to a new level. Some of the packaging on this car is, they call it tight. Very, very tight. And super, super impressive.
So hi to everybody out there. Hi, everybody. I hope you're all well. Nice of you to join us. Brad and Nessus, thanks for sharing, Glynn. You're a true gem. Brad, thank you very much for tuning in. Troy Cochran. Sorry I couldn't speak to you guys a bit earlier, but we were in a situation where I didn't have a mic, and we went near, couldn't see the feed, so we went and did our little thing. But
just I think the term is winging it, hey Gary?
Yeah, winging
almost
it.
like a duck on the top. It's just serene, and the production values are great. And
welcome, welcome. Took
a whole lot of
Scott Temple. A lot of you guys online today. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
So that was our walk around Hall Speed.
I'm going to ask production if they don't mind. I know they've got a picture. If they can slide the picture of the truck in, because the new design of that truck's awesome.
And this is the truck that I wonder if they did that when the queue was there.
No, they didn't. That's why I'm asking to do it now.
Gary, so now there was we kind of moved. This is the 40th show. It was 40th edition of Dakar this year.
Our 40th show. Okay, so it's a big 4-0.
So the big 4. It was the 50th Tara Rally.
Correct.
And the S2000 NAD car won it.
Yeah.
Yapi Dippenaar, and the Henny in the. And I'm sorry, I'm just going. Production didn't give us any notes, so I don't need my glasses. They were a little bit. So the show's a little bit topsy turvy today. Henny came third in the first Treasury.
Treasury 1. In the Treasury 1.
My mind's blank, Gary.
Yeah, you came first in the Treasury 1.
Many came third in the Treasury 1 Amarok.
That's correct.
So he was third in the class. So it was the 50th. Last week I kept on saying the 40th. I got 40 on my mind, don't know why. It was the 50th edition of the Tara
Rally. You were preempting this show last week, were you?
Gary, I'm sort of a bit like Norman Nowhere at the moment with some various bits and pieces that are going on. I think I walked into a lamp and,
switched the lights out.
Some say the lights were never on. Thanks, Reggie. Right, so last week, what happened? Last week we were at Swartkorps for the G&H, last round of the G&H Transport Supercars.
Correct.
There were some pretty cool things here. I tell you what, that Porsche of Franco Scrivanti is really nice and neat. It's fast, but some might say fragile. It's prone to failures of non-optimum outcome of certain events.
Correct.
There was a bit of an oil fire. It turns out they tell us that it was a plastic
the oil filler pipe broke. Don't look at me like that.
Gary, I'm
going by what?
I'm just looking.
Yes. And then there was others that had other problems.
Others that had other problems.
Like Tuka Mechanicos. He had a bit of an issue with his car. Remember, he had that.
Yeah, that turned into instead of being a V8, it went to a V7, and then
That's
a
right.
V5, and then a V nothing.
Yeah,
but it was great to catch up with some of the other proper characters there. Hey?
Yeah.
The Joubert team with the Lotus with the Honda Mahusive power, and interesting afterwards when we were having a glass of water with them.
I like that glass of water. Yeah.
Didn't say what was in the water. So we're having a glass of water with them, and he basically said that the thing is maybe you should turn the boost down and get to the end of the event. So bottom line in both races, Charles Rangi's won the race in the Aston Martin. Sounded very nice. And in particular, the second race was, because there were a number of red flags for all sorts of things.
Yeah.
The race got mixed up. Tires got colder, drivers got bolder, and it was very interesting.
Some of them even fell asleep.
It was, when
I
they
mean,
were waiting.
Charles admitted that he got caught napping.
Yeah, so what I think that we should do is just have a random full course yellow every now and then, just for the hell of it, so that,
Wake Simon up and put Charles to sleep.
Well, it certainly did wake Simon up, because he got past, and then there was a whole mad scramble, and it was super interesting. But I've also got to say, last weekend was the second last NASCAR race, and Kevin Harvick made it through to the finals. This is after they mounted the rear spoiler 5 millimeters, or they modified it. And you're not allowed to modify a spoiler on a NASCAR car. So what they do is they try and run it with yaw.
Yeah.
Remember from our technical last week?
You had the
So
yaw, this or that.
You run the back kicked out, so it sticks the spoiler into the wind, and then you skew the whole body, and it sticks the spoiler more into the wind. You get downforce. So it's the big three, and plus Joey Logano. And for those of you who don't follow NASCAR, and I don't know why. I mean, it's absolutely magnificent racing. Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Joey Logano. One of those four will be the champion next weekend. The final race is Miami Homestead, Miami. So that is that one.
And then also, guys, just to let you know what's coming up going forward. Remember, this weekend is the last weekend of MotoGP. 3 South Africans running over there. We've got the Binder brothers, one in Moto 2, Darren Binder in Moto 3, Brad Binder in Moto 2 with Stephen Odendahl. So get online, support those guys. We'll try and post as much as we can.
And Darren has signed another year in Moto 3?
Yes, he's got to drive with a different team this year, still on a KTM. And Stephen Odendahl's re-signed with his team. And a lot of guys have been commenting about Stephen Odendahl and this team always been down 18, 19, 20, but there's a big reason for it. This is a brand new team into the game. They are still riding a development bike. They're developing this bike.
What make is it?
It's an NTS. Got sort of some Honda connection with it, and I'm not going to go too much into it. But the guys have been developing. They've been 18 months developing this bike. And he's slowly getting on pace. And when I say he's done 19th, 20th, when you have a look at the lap times, you look at the gap between 20
tiny.
and you look at the gap between one, it's like 0.4 of a second. It was 0.4 of a second. So the guys will get there, and he's very quick. So he signed a new contract for that. And then also, everybody else knows, the live streaming has become a reality for all of us. I'm chuffed about it. A lot of exciting news coming through in 2019.
Yeah, but this is not the end of it. Next week we're in another Dakar workshop.
That's right, yeah.
Wait for that one. And if there are any questions you'd like us to ask some of these Dakar car builders and all the rest of it, We'll do a bit of a tech feature on some of the issues that they all seem to be going for, and we see this in track racing as well. Lowering the polar moment of inertia, so the thing is easier to turn, and we'll do a bit of it next week. I think we'll also do a bit of a tech show on what polar moment of inertia is. Lowering the center of gravity so it doesn't roll as much as it is, and lowering friction, and making it lighter, because there's unobtainium in these cars. Lots and lots of unobtainium.
I see a couple of our biggest fans, world traveling fans, the guys that travel all over the world. Young Sheldon van der Linden is online. He's just joined us. Sheldon, I'm coming hunting you, Calvin, and Mr. Pepper. We're going to, three of you and us are going to do a Wave Yellow sometime. I'll catch you guys. I have no idea where, but we will find you and catch you. So you're not hiding from us.
And we'll send the production team out to hunt you down as well. Gary, and
Colin,
that's about it. One of the shorter shows,
yeah,
which is actually quite lekker, because it gets us. We are close to Kyalami. There's a huge thunderstorm coming.
That's right.
Which is going to make an interesting
trip
time
home
in the traffic.
Yeah.
Back to Four Ways.
So I'm going to do my thing over there, and I'm going to say to everybody out there, bye, thank you, thanks for watching. We will be back next Wednesday with another exciting show.
The 41st edition of Waved Yellow will be next week. Thanks a lot for watching us. Thanks for joining us. And remember, send us any questions and queries, and anything that you would like to see. If you want us to go and try and do an in-depth look at a unicycle, or Richard Rutz's powerboat, and how they make all serious propellers and stuff and things for that, drop us a note, let us know, and thanks a lot for watching us. We will see you next week. Have an awesome weekend. Don't forget, it's MotoGP and it's NASCAR finals. With that, cheers. I keep thinking.